recording. What are you doing in terms of your own iteration? Like, what is your on the court right now in your life? You're reading a book, and
Yeah.
what does your life actually look like in terms of you embodying all of this? You had said that you move quickly. What do you
Yes.
you have
Yes.
to
So
what do
we,
you mean by that? What do you mean
we
by that?
we we stopped recording, and then of course what happens, guys, is like you stop recording and then the next cool conversation happens because you get to that next layer of authenticity. And I realized that the next layer of authenticity for me in sharing with you guys and with Robyn is like, what's really going on is I'm like, just like you were saying at the beginning of this conversation is, oh, I'm hitting my edges, right? Like
Yeah.
I am in terms of growth, like my growth game is so big and so consistent and so constant that, and I alchemize so fast
Yeah.
with my growth that I trip over myself.
Like you're
And
producing results. When you say you alchemize, you're literally producing results, but it's
it's
happening.
not that I'm producing results, it's that I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about money. We're talking about Kate Northrup's Money, a Love Story. We're talking about somatic work and breath work and healing work and being ready to look at my money stories
Yeah.
and being ready to like take my blinders off and take responsibility in terms of where am I playing small? Where am I afraid of responsibility? Where am I codependent? How am I storing fear in the body based on my lineage, what my mom's thinking was, my whole life, the conditioning from age 0 to 7, like what have I taken on from my dad's beliefs and his family's beliefs and my mom's beliefs? And not that I have to dissect every single thing because I don't, but like really just saying, I'm going to look at this. I'm going to learn about this. I'm going to spend time on it. I'm going to do it in a way that feels safe to my body. I'm going to write the story from the wounded self, and then I'm going to rewrite it from the slightly less wounded self, and then I'm going to rewrite it in terms of my more empowered self, and then I'm going to rewrite the money story of my life in my most potential, you know, greatest potential self ownership of like, oh, what could this be? Like, who am I really without all of the old stories about the ways that couldn't figure things out with money.
Yeah.
And it's ancestral and all of that, but it's like you're ready when you're ready. So then it's that also thing of like uncovering the shame, because when you decide you're going to face something that's your weakest point, right? Like it has been my weakest point. So, okay, well, the first thing that we have to do with any of these things that we look at of our weakest points is we have to make it okay. We have
Mm.
to be like, oh, baby girl, like, yeah, of course. Okay.
How do you make it okay? Is that the daily writing, the
You
practice?
know, well, I think it's just the decision to say, it's safe. I'm not going to judge you. You're where you are because of XYZ, and you weren't ready, and now you are, and it's okay. Like, you
Oh,
don't have to feel shame because it's not helping to feel shame around this? Is it helping? Has it ever helped? Being hard on yourself, does that ever help us grow? We don't grow when someone screams at us and shames us and guilts us. How are we going to expand our capacity to feel good or expand our capacity to be the receiver, expand our capacity to be stewards of money if we're just in a shame spiral?
yeah.
Because when I allow myself to look at what's here, what's the energy here, what are the stories here, what are the things like, oh, okay, why am I where I'm at with my ability to feel powerful around money? Okay, well, like I have this fear that my husband and I won't stay together if I'm more powerful with my money. I have this fear that I can't surpass my parents in my power and my success because what will that mean? And am I somehow doing something wrong there? Am I somehow all the stories?
Mm.
And it's like, well, clearly if there's a block, if there's been a block of me being the most financially prosperous person that I could be, it's in the body. Like you said, the body holds the score, the body keeps the score. So I don't need to do all the mindset work in the world. Yes, okay, that's helpful too, but I need to address it on a fundamental level. And so I'm doing the work of writing down what it is, rewriting it, and then integrating it. Like the surrender of maybe I need to grieve the old stories,
Mm.
and maybe I need to grieve where I'm at and where I think I should be. Because the other work I'm doing is writing down all the shoulds. I should be the best mom in the world. I should pay attention to my children 24/7. I should be the best entrepreneur in the world. I should, I'm not being specific, but I'm just giving generals.
Yes.
So many shoulds. Like, it's ridiculous the amount of shoulds, women especially, but men too. It's just, and if you start to experiment with looking at the shoulds, you're just like, oh, F this. Like,
Yeah.
how do we not be in freeze when we have this many shoulds?
Yeah. Yeah.
So just even writing out the shoulds. So it's really just, point being is that as soon as I feel safe enough to go to the next level of healing, then it's like, here we are, let's go, accelerated program. And then my body is like trying to catch up with how fast I like to go on the healing journey. And I'm like teaching it before I'm even learning it. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm teaching this now, because as soon as I learned the Akashic Records, I was already, ready to teach it. And it's like that kind of a thing. But I think that's just like how I operate.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is flow. That is the circular, that is ebb and flow. That is natural.
Yeah, you want to give it away. You want to,
Yeah. 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 It's what
like, hey, I'm discovering this. I want you to have this. This is what I'm realizing.
ocean
Yeah.
wave. Yes. Yes. So there is a daily practices, daily fare that goes into, doing the work that works too. What are all the shoulds? So now that you look at it, how does that support you? Writing all that down. How will that support you in melting the
Hmm.
of should?
Yeah. Well, we can't do anything about what we're unconscious of. So
Right.
it's bringing it to the surface. And that's the work of, and I'm also alongside my husband doing this work. And so I'm witnessing him bringing it to the surface. And so for me, it was the seventh grader who in gym class didn't go down to gym and was so desperate to go to Washington, D.C. to be with the popular girls that she stole money from all of their lockers. And then felt so deeply guilty that immediately put even more money back into their pockets. That girl, and then, witnessing that and being like, ooh, that's in there. Okay. And then for my husband, something very similar that he started to uncover was like all the times that as a kid he stole money.
Yeah.
And it's this like feeling of desperation. And it's interesting because it's not even about the money, it's that the money represented being able to afford the things that would allow us to fit in,
Belong. Yeah.
to belong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, what do we make money mean? And, she calls it money a love story. It's like, ooh, putting the word money next to love, because really it's just this conduit. It's an activator. Money is just an activator. It's neutral. So it's like all the stuff we put on it. Same with God, same with love, same with anything. These words that we're just like, but money, I think, is one of the biggest wounds and triggers, and the thing that people have divorced over the most. Like, it's like the thing that we all want more of, that we all struggle with, that we all have shit around and stories around. And if you're spiritual, you shouldn't have it, blah, blah, blah. Like, right? Then you're not then you're not really a giver, you're not really a spiritual person, like all those stories.
When you see that emerge on the shame, let's say about the seventh grade, I have my version of that. Your husband, of course,
Yes, which is on the podcast here. One of
right,
your stories. Yeah.
right. And when we see that emerge and we realize it was all about belonging and fitting in and trying to either get love or give love. It was all about love. The money was all about love,
Mm-hmm.
feeling
Mm-hmm.
acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you see that in black and white, or you've written it, then now that I see it and I realize what's at the root, I can now fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
But
You
what do
can
I?
now start to address it and make it safe in the body through the breath work.
Yeah, yeah,
Breathe through it and start to allow the system, the nervous system to relax,
yeah.
right? And relax around the word money and relax around the stories and like actually start to let the stories melt, right? And like let it flow out of the body so it's not being stored there. So you can actually be the wider receiver and you can actually start to get more embodied and feel a little bit more like, ooh, I can move my hips, or I can breathe a little deeper, a little wider. I can be a little more playful, a little more amused with all of it. And then I can start to like really actually reprogram and get to the end of that neural pathway and go past the end of it into like, ooh, what's actually on the other side of this? Like, I don't have to play small and I can be in my power, and it's safe to be in my power because we're not going to, as much as we talk about it and do everything out here about the money stuff, if we have a block around money or we have fear, like for example, some people don't have a block around money, they can make it and make it and make it, or attract it, but they still have a scarcity mindset that they're going to lose it or they're not going to have enough. There's not going to be enough. There's not going to be enough. And they're obsessed. They're obsessed with the fact that they're going to run out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Front of the hand, back of the hand, whether they have money or not, there's the desperation. Or, yes. Is there also a particular practice that you engage with to help that seventh grade girl version of you? Is there a specific something that you do to talk to the girl?
Yeah.
She had to do this or desperate for that. Do you talk to that?
I mean, it's all like, I am like, let's scoop up every version of you, the little girl, all the versions of that girl that's scared, that was scared for good reason. Like, let's scoop up the version of you that needed dad's love and the version of you that was afraid because mom and dad didn't stay together, and all these versions of you. Like, it means like if I make money, dad's gonna leave, or if because mom started making money and dad left, like whatever the story was, like let's scoop up all the versions. And or money means that you don't get to be with your loved ones because you're so busy, whatever. Like, there's so many versions. Like, we're just gonna scoop it all up and bring it with us and breathe. And there's this very scientific but very magical effect of the breath work,
Yeah.
that on the other side of like just coming back home to the breath over and over, that cyclical breath, that triactive breath, that on the other side of that, there's freedom and there's space and there's love and there's grace and there's forgiveness. And there's like, we're like creating this literally, like on a cellular level, like the capacity to have a new experience, because otherwise every experience that's different from what you've been experiencing thus far is a threat to the whole system, and it'll just go, nope, I don't care what you say or what you do or how many ways you try and fix this, I'm not going to change, not safe, don't recognize it. But if we can, with the hack here is like, really, it's in that unconditional love energy that I create, because you let me come into your acting classes and do this. Like, I create that unconditional love, safe energy, and then we slowly go through and we like breathe and we breathe and we pick up the pace and we breathe through it and we let it flow out. And it's like the flow of let's surrender what we need to surrender, and then let's allow in the possibility. And every time I facilitate class, I feel that along, just like with you with your acting, I feel that along with the class. I feel it with them in real time. I'm like, oh, this feels so good to be in our bodies. It feels so good to breathe and to stop being up in our head and to stop, swirling in the washing machine.
Because it is a melding, because in order to conjure the hurt, scared, terrified 4-year-old, 7-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old, 20-year-old, in order to keep, there is a logical component to that. I am going into the memory bank, the brain,
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
pull up, it's a thought, and then it's an image, and then it's a feeling.
Yeah.
Is so, and so the breath work is addressing the
Yeah.
logical, the psychological, and the body, and the spirit
Yes.
and soul, of course.
It's all levels, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. It's addressing it
Yeah.
on every level. The memory of, hey, if you believe in past lives, the past life memories. And it is epic in this sense that you can oftentimes, when you're having a breathwork session, see the movie of your life play out in front of you. Have you had that happen?
Well, I've done that at times. That has happened with you, with hypnotherapists, where we go there through the breath. That's the portal. And then we are seeing the timeline. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the work that Tracy Litt does, we go into the
Mhm.
timeline, and
Yeah.
that is like a movie in your mind.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it just bubbles up and you're like, ooh, I didn't even remember I had that memory. And there it bubbles up as you stay with the breath. And oh my God, I gave Tracy Litt a breathwork session the other day, a private breathwork session. It was so much fun. And
oh,
she,
I saw
we
that.
were,
I know. It's I mean, I don't know. You're both so lucky. You're both, she's the luckiest woman in the world. We're all so lucky to know each other, but she's so, how did that go for, I mean, I'm sure it was
it was so cool because she didn't have a ton of time, of course. And we just went straight in and just went for it. And it was
yeah,
great because we're on the same language level
yes,
with
yes,
what
yes.
we're doing. So I didn't
Totally.
have to explain anything to her. She was just like, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it was
yeah.
really cool. Thank you, Robyn, for,
Thank you.
asking me these questions and
Yeah.
prompting this out of me because this is where I'm at and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
exciting. It's pretty
And
exciting.
what you're helping you're teaching to people. And for some people, it is really useful to understand how the work works. You and I, and Tracy, she knows it works, and you don't necessarily need to talk about it or describe it, but it's so helpful for someone like me, who is relatively a relative novice, and others who are listening, who maybe haven't had this work, to sort of how the work works.
Yeah. Yeah.
That produces these kinds of miraculous results. So thank you for doing that deep dive and sharing, your practices, and how engaging in those practices unravels this in real time. It's so powerful and profound. So thank you for this addendum.
You're welcome. Thank you, Robyn. Yes, yes, yes. I just want to say, to cap this off, on the other side of the stuff that I just said that doesn't kind of feels icky a little bit, maybe. On the other side of it is so much space to breathe, right? Like so much juiciness, so much possibility, so much enjoyment, so much like everything, all of it is just, the smorgasbord is available to you and you can have that wider capacity to feel good. And
Yeah.
in that coherence, in that wider capacity to feel good, is the ability to be this ebb and flow with money, to have this money loves, this relationship with money that feels good.
Yes. Yes. Bring it.
So that's where we're going. So come with me. Come with me.
Let's go. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks,
Ah,
Robyn.
thank you.